Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley.
And I am Coach Jay.
See, I tried a different one. I tried a different entry. I didn't say welcome, and it seems weird. It seems off. I feel like the show is not starting as it should. We are back with another edition of the film breakdown. We're getting back to the great state of Tennessee. We're going to be talking about Jhrevious Hall, 6'2", 270-pound defensive lineman out of Columbia, Tennessee. Getting back to the great state of Tennessee, want to focus on our in-state kids. If you're first time here on the Talkin VAWLS Network, if it's your first time here, welcome. We don't pretend to be any type of expert or insider, but what we do have is a wild card up our sleeve, and that's Coach Jay over here. Coaches a little football out in California. He's gracious enough to come on here, break down some film for us. A lot of you diehards, a lot of you, as Kaner calls them, everydayers, you guys love this series. I love this series. Selfishly, I get to learn a little bit about football, so I am all about it. So if you like what we do, smash the thumbs up, subscribe, click that bell, all that fun stuff. When we're not breaking down film, we're talking recruiting, we're talking transfer portal, anything and everything. We talk Tennessee football all day, every day, right here on the Talkin VAWLS Network. But let's jump right into it. Jhrevious Hall, again, 6'2", 270 out of Columbia, Tennessee. He's a class of 25 kid, but we were kind of laughing right before we even hit record. Some of these, when you're early in the process, and it's February, right? It's February. It's very early in the process for the class of 25 kids. The recruiting sites aren't always up to date. You may not have visit information. You may not have a scouting report. You can see here On3 doesn't even have an official ranking for Jhrevious Hall. Same thing for ESPN, which they really don't even cover recruiting anyway. Let's not pretend that they do. But you can see here, 247 Sports has him as a 4-star and a top 250 player. Coach, you always kind of make these decisions. Who we're going to cover? Why Jhrevious Hall? What did you see in his game? What do you like? Why did you want to shine a spotlight on the 6'2", 270-pound defensive lineman?
Yeah, he's a true run stopper, a true A gap to A gap. D tackle, nose tackle, type. He's got that little bit of that squatty body at 6'2", 270, right? Not a big 6'5" kid or big 6'6" kid. A leverage player, right? Really strong punch. I would dare say an elite punch. Inside, violent with his hands, but can also pass rush. He can get after a quarterback really quickly. He's got some things in his game that he needs to work on, but certainly, on a short list of defensive linemen that I think are very valuable defensive linemen in the state of Tennessee, and maybe only second to Mr. Utley that we broke down earlier in the cycle.
I was watching an interview. AP did an interview with him. It's like 8 or 9 months ago, and he seems so laid back and chill. A lot of times when AP does those interviews, you can tell the kid's nervous. They're maybe not comfortable in front of a camera or a microphone. Man, he seemed relaxed, laid back, having a good time. They were kind of joking about basketball. He's got good feet. He's got quick hands, and he kind of said, "Yeah, it comes from the basketball court." I think we could see his recruitment really start to pick up, and that's something that they talked about. And this was, again, 8 or 9 months ago. He kind of talked about how once you get that first offer, especially an SEC offer, more offers start to pile in. He's been offered by Tennessee, Ole Miss, Missouri, Louisville, Auburn. He's starting some visits. He visited Missouri and Georgia Tech back in January, Vanderbilt in February. Going to be interesting to see how his recruitment plays out. He was offered back on December the 7th of 2022. And when Coach Jay threw the name at me, I start digging in, doing some research. There was a lot of buzz, a lot of talk about his relationship with Coach Garner. He loves Tennessee. And then that kind of started to fade. So I was wondering how his recruitment was going. He visited Tennessee for Junior Day in March of last year. He was back on campus in June for the Night at Neyland recruiting event. And then it kind of went quiet. I told Coach Jay right before we went live here to record that Matt Ray over at VolQuest on February the 12th said, after asked if they were still recruiting Hall, he said, not sure there is a big push there. Maybe Tennessee pumped the brakes. Maybe, again, they're going to evaluate his senior season. What are your thoughts on that, Coach? So much momentum early or attraction, desire. Now it's kind of faded a little bit. What's going through a coach's mind?
It could be a lot of things. It could be, it's the first time when you bring them onto campus that you get to kind of take a look at them physically and mentally, right? See them around their peers, how they act. Could have gave a little field goal kicker an atomic wedgie or something like that. You never know, right? He could have picked on someone and it rubbed someone the wrong way. He could have made a snark comment to a coach at some point that didn't sit well. Not saying he did it all, guys. Don't put that in my mouth. Just saying it could be it. It could be some kind of issue back at school. It could be grades. It could be anything. It could be, he severely broke his tibia when he was a freshman. We just don't know all the little ins and outs to each player. So we're kind of stuck here to play armchair quarterback and do the best we can and judge at the end with hindsight to a degree sometimes with these recruits. So hard to say what it is. I do know one thing. He is a little bit of a niche player, as we were saying before we went in here, Boogie. He's certainly that run plugger, but that kind of suits Tennessee well, in my opinion, because you can stick him in the middle of a defense. You can really bring that pressure on the edges, and when they try to run underneath it, he's going to be there to plug it 9 times out of 10. So I do like kind of a way he could fit within this defense. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Mr. Hall here over the next year. And then, of course, there's his senior season, right? Another thing to remember is these kids, when you're think about it, right? Anyone who's me or Boogie's age, or if you're 30 or 25, think about it. You change so much at that age. You're not the same when you're 17, when you're 15, or when you're 13 as when you're 18. Shoot, when you're 18 to when you're 21, you're just vastly different. So there's going to be a lot of growing up to do, a lot of football to play with the senior year in front of them. So definitely bookmark this one, guys, because he is one to watch.
Yeah, it's kind of like going back to the breakdown we did most recently. Well, I guess it was a few weeks ago. Terrion Grant, right? The kid that's committed to Purdue. A lot of people are saying, why is Tennessee not after him? Why are they not in on him? Is it a culture thing? Is it an on-field evaluation? You never really know, but again, we never have a problem spotlighting the in-state kids. That's what we're going to do here today. We're going to take a look at the highlights. We're going to jump right into it. Here we go, 32-second mark, Coach Jay.
Sure, we got a nickel look from the defense. We have an empty set. Out of our offense, a little bit of a busted play here, to be honest. He's got a bunch formation to the bottom of the screen, the quarterback, and he's got a single X wide receiver to the top of the screen. In my opinion, he kind of should have looked to throw this little bubble screen to the bottom of the screen immediately, but he doesn't, and we're kind of left to pick up the pieces here from an analytical standpoint. You're going to get a decent first step out of him, but I do want to pick on him a little bit out of the gate, Boogie. If you can capture it in these first 2 steps he takes a false step, guys. And if one thing gets under old Coach Jay's, skin, gets stuck in his craw, it's a false step. We never want wasted steps on a football field, ever. Never, ever, 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 ever do we want a wasted step. Boogie, see if you can kind of pause that first step and see if we can capture that little bit of a false step here out of Mr. Hall. Just pop. Yeah, just that
I missed the
little.
pause button.
Yeah, you're okay. You're okay. And it's brief, and I'll tell you what, he fixes it later in the film, which we're going to show up. I like his stance, though. Compact, strong, shoulders out forward, just a little bit of a stutter step out of his break. You never want to stutter out of that break. It's just a little bit of a stutter pullback. You want all your kinetic energy going forward. But even with that little bit of a stutter, we see what's happened here, right, guys? He is blown completely by his block. The quarterback is going to escape out of this pocket. And why I'm pointing out this play at all is because, yeah, he stops the inside rush well, which we're going to see throughout his film. But when the quarterback, sprints out, when it's student body left and we're running a pitch, when we're running a bubble screen, he can get out on his horse. He does got some speed for him. He can pass rush. Let's go ahead and take a look at him finish this play really quick. Gets out of this with his speed, chases him down. Just good speed out of him. Really fast out of the block. Just fix that little stutter. I know I'm nitpicking, but That's my job, Boogie. So that's what I'm going to do.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Right here we got another nickel look. We're going to see a lot out of them. We had deuces, single wing set. They're going to motion into trips right here. Hall is going to be the defensive tackle at the top of your screen. The offense is going to run a strong side A gap dive right here. Very similar to the Jordan Ross film, Boogie. We're going to get that really strong shoulder shiver to create space right here. See if you can give me that good, strong first punch out of Mr. Hall, and we can kind of talk about what we get at that shoulder pop. Just boom. I know it's kind of hard to see because we get an offensive lineman pulling out of that, but just a great job punching him out. And we see we've completely knocked him out of his base, and the back has to change his whole direction after he knocks that guard. Yeah, knocks him completely off of his base with that shoulder shiver and then squats in the hole. You've probably heard me talk a lot in post games about not maintaining our gaps violently. This really hurt us in multiple games this past season. The Missouri game and the Florida game come to mind specifically, with the defensive end kind of opposite to that Pierce end would have trouble squatting in the hole, or the tackle would have trouble squatting in the hole. They would maybe, just titty bump with the offensive lineman, mess around and not be violent. You want to make sure always, 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 always attack violently and then sit down in your hole. And when you do that, you'll see the summation of what happens there. And I'll tell you, he didn't have any kinetic energy, right? All the energy went into that pop, and then he sits in the hole, and you're playing catch against that back. Well, that violence helps you pop and pop back in violently. And it's why he's able to stop a back dead in his tracks with a full set of steam. And we can go ahead and take a look at that at this point, Boogie. A common theme here with this kit, by the way, whenever a back has a full head of steam, it's almost like they just instantly meet a wall when they meet Mr. Hall. Certainly, just a nice tough shoulder shiver, pop into the hole, and you're going nowhere. Strong kid, strong hands, strong arms, strong legs. Boogie, this play is a little bit of a of a throwaway play. This is the old Coach J bonus play that's just in there to play really quick and watch it. We see the hands extended here, and he's going to try to catch this back out of here. My only gripe with it is, the slogan, guys: knees to nuts, ass down, head up, wrap up, hat on the ball. He throws the old Kamal Haddon shoulder shiver that we hate, that the kid ran away from on Florida, but Hall's so damn strong that it just doesn't matter right here. Let's watch him finish this tackle for a nice laugh.
Mm.
Oh man, that never gets old. I love stuff like that. Just a strong kid, violent kid, can arrive with a lot of aggression very quickly. Once again, just stuffing the A gap, absolutely stuffing the A gap. You see very, very few to none A gap plays, even when you watch this kid's full game.
One of the words I saw in the scouting report at 247 was bully. They called him a bully.
Mm-hmm.
It says leverage-oriented interior defensive lineman. Doesn't unverified size, whatever. I don't really care when they say that, but they called him a bully at the point of attack. Redirects well, plays with broad pursuit range, flashes heavy-handedness with sudden power, capable of providing one-gap playmaking ability. You just showed that there on that second play. Also strong enough to anchor and back up traffic versus high school competition. What do you see that's a weakness in his game? A lot of times, man, those scouting reports at On3 or 247, a lot of times they focus on the weaknesses. Nothing but positivity on that scouting report. You've watched a lot more film than we're going to show on this breakdown. What's his weakness? What does he need to work on?
I agree with leverage. I have leverage right on my notes. I also have a MFer in the box is also in there. But when I talk about weakness, he does have great leverage at the beginning of his play, but he gets lazy through the summation of the play, right? He'll have that initial pop low, but then he'll stand up through it rather than staying low through the shoot. I know it's an old cliche that the high school players play too high, but he really needs to work on his pad level because, in the college level, when you're playing in the box like that, you're going to be dealing with a lot of combo blocks, with multiple guards pulling or tackles pulling through you when you're not seeing them. And if you don't maintain that leverage throughout the play, you'll get knocked off your center of gravity. Um, Also, he his footwork could use a little bit of work, but I'll tell you what, it's not a lot, Boogie. For the most part, he has pretty good feet. I think I would rate it at like a B plus. So it's strong kid. I mean, a lot to work with there, uh, from a from a um, gosh, I'm searching for a word and can't find it, from a basics standpoint. There you go. Fundamentals. That's the word I was looking for. I can talk.
And again, we question why if Tennessee, if they
Hmm.
have slowed down, why have they slowed down? And the reality of college football, the reality of recruiting, something that Coach said off air right before we hit the record button. Maybe they're playing the waiting game. Maybe they're playing the numbers game. Maybe they want to go get a couple of elite defensive linemen that Rodney Garner has his eye on, and they are just kind of in cruise control to see where they end up. We'll find out. Guys, if you're still hanging with us this deep into it, make sure you have smashed the thumbs up. We would appreciate it. Share this video, man. Share it on Facebook, Twitter. If you see us promoting it, share it out, retweet it. We appreciate that, and appreciate you guys tuning in, enjoying the film breakdown. Jump in the comment section. We always record a couple of these at a time. Let us know, who do you want us to break down next? We're going to be getting ready to go back into the recording booth. So who do you guys want to see us break down next? Let's jump back into it. Got a couple of more plays to look at. 638.
Yep. Oh, and then another thing for the comment section, real quick, guys. Let me know, and maybe you know Boogie, but what is this? What is this division like that he's playing in? How competitive is this division? At times he looks like he's playing against pretty good kids, but then some of the time not so much. So maybe y'all can let me know in the comment section down below what that is here. But looking at what we got going on the screen. We got twins to the bottom of our screen. We got a single wing set to the strong side. That's where we're going to find Mr. Hall sitting there at that defensive tackle position instead. We're going to get a counter, kind of counter to the B gap to the weak. They're going to follow that wing through. Boogie, if you can go ahead and play it, pause it about the 641 mark, or right about when Hall extends his arms on that block. I believe it's about the 641 mark. A good leverage, good push out of his break. From Hall is always pops his lineman up. It's just once he pops him up, I'd like to see him keep that leverage on his first drive step. Maybe run it a second longer. Gets that good arm extension. And why we want that good arm extension, guys? Look, I can move, I can see inside, I can see outside. If I'm here, I can't move anywhere, right? I need good in shoulders, in elbows, pop out. Now I can drive any way I want to go, right? And that's what he's going to do. Uh, this running back almost makes it out with his life through that B gap. He just about does. Um, this kind of shows you how strong his upper body is. He catches them as he goes through the hole and disposes of them like a rag doll. Just absolute strength and brutality out of Mr. Hall. Let's watch him catch this back.
Mm.
Boom.
He's so hostile, he throws him forward 7 yards. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
playing NCAA on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what he needs to work on, right? Don't don't shot put the offensive running back to a first down. There you go. We got something for you to work on.
I love his body
Lord, he
language.
threw him
I
five.
love his
Yeah,
body language right here. It's like I'm better
he's
than you.
very violent. He likes to throw the Dikembe Mutombo, no, 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 not in my house, when he stuffs the A gap quite a bit. Always really funny stuff from him. Moving on.
Yep,
This
646.
is 646. All right, we've got single wing again. We've got aces, so single wide receivers, split out wide once again. We're gonna get a gap, another A gap trap. Basically, inside trap here. Just once again pointing out how violently he attacks that gap. Boogie, let's see if you can play pause that same moment of contact from the previous play. All of our work's nitty gritty. Sometimes I wish we had that top or that aerial view with all defense alignment, and you can already see it even here how far he has pushed that offense alignment back. Now, you can also see his arm is wrapped around him a little bit. I don't like that. Once again, I want that inside so we can push out and drive. He might have missed his punch. Sometimes you throw a punch and then dip and rip through, and that could be what's happening there. It's hard to kind of know without talking to Mr. Hall there. But if we're driving, we always want inside unless we're dip and rip, punch, pushing through. Give me another second or two, Boog. Let's check it out. Pushes through, gets off the block really quick though, right? Funnels back inside. And after that, that's just once again occupying this gap violently, getting through. And once again, as soon as the running back comes through there, meets him in the gap, good fundamentals through the tackle. Violent player. Pop, pop. Very nice, man. Disposes of them very, very violently. Like it. I like his attitude. I like the dog in him.
For the record, I Googled it. They play 5A. Bradley Central is 6A. So pretty high classification, but how tough is the competition in the state of Tennessee, right? Compared to your Georgias, your Floridas, your Californias, your Texas, but he does play at a pretty high classification in Tennessee.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, no, good to know. Once again, anxious to see how these coaches recruit him going forward. Certainly. Final play, guys. Not a lot to discuss on this play. He doesn't take that false step or that rocker step on this. This is another straight bull rush out of him. What we're going to see right here is just how quickly he can get upfield. I'd love to know what this guy's times are. In those short burst runs, like what's his 10-yard sprint time? How quick is he out of the block in the 5-yard run? Sometimes, to me, these are the most important stats for a linebacker or a defensive lineman, and their stats you never really hear about is how fast they are out of that block. But right here, we see that power out of the block. He's going to take this offensive guard, put him directly into the running back, and put the running back directly into the quarterback. Just once again, being a bully out there, being a monster out there, being an A-gap plugger out there. Boom. And took the ball out, by the way.
That's a beautiful ball out,
by the way.
I like that.
That's an MFer right there when you're doing that. That's awesome, and they don't even know what happened. Quarterback's trying to figure it out. Lost looking for his football, probably lost the game. Cheerleader broke up with him after the game.
Oh man, this took a dark turn real quick. Maybe, man. Anyway, if you guys know anything going on with the recruitment of Jhrevious Hall, put it in the comments. We want to know. We'll continue to follow his journey, right? That's the thing about doing the breakdown and talking about these class of 25 kids. They've got an entire year of high school football left to play. So we will follow his journey. We'll see if Tennessee picks up interest. What do you like about his game? Drop in the comments. Let's talk about it. And don't forget to let us know who you want us to break down next. But that is going to do it for this one. He's Coach Jay. I'm Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.